Recording in progress.
Okay. A good Erev Shabbos, everyone. Okay. So the Parshas starts off with that you have to put up Shoftim. Shlomo Melech had there's 8 mitzvahs here, and he had put on these steps up to the throne of what he called. So you had, because the Melech ultimately is the one that does the justice. You come to a Melech for redress, it's called. This thing there, then it's for justice. And he has to handle everything. He's the final judge. That used to be, that's what how a job of a Melech was. Okay, now you see, so he's constantly busy. People are always coming in front of him with entailers and stuff like that, and he's supposed to be very fast in what he called. Not like when the test takes a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1, 2, 3, Anything goes. Okay. So, and he wrote other things there. So the first steps were Leisat the Mishpat, Leisak Yaponim. These were on Leisikach Sheikhad. These things we understand has to do with justice. What has to do with the job of a judge. But what does it have to do with what has that got to do with justice? And so I find that what it is in fact, he came out with the emes. Just trying to think. Regan, I don't remember. Regan was an actor. He became president of the United States. And according to the Republicans, he was a good president. Whatever it is, a lot of people, a good president. So, what's Pshat? He was an actor. What Sheikh's got to the presidency? He looked like a president. I don't know if he acted those parts or not. Could be that you always saw him as a guy that's in a presidential position. So there are guys that look like a president. There's the guys that look like a dayan. That's a hados ponim there. He looks good. So the pshat is, sometimes that also has an effect, You come into someone that has hados ponim, there's achnoya on the part of the person that's in front of him. So you have that effect. So he says, no, that's not the ikar though. The ikar is what's up here. In other words, this is just the chitzoniistic thing, which there's milus in it, but that's not the milus that we need. If you have a choice of the two, he has to have it. Should a dayan also have hados ponim? That's for sure. You should have hados ponim, because why not? Hados ponim in itself has a value that you see Talmud Chacham that has hados ponim. There's a different way you look at him in the thing over there. I don't know if that's the reason. I think it's by Rav Yehuda in the Maisa, where a woman came by Ksubis. It's going to be Ksubis this year. What? That he was talking to this woman, and she started to say, the guy that was hunchbacked, and what he called, and she's describing Shmuel and the derogatory manners. He kicks her out. Another thing over there. So in other words, to her, he's a hunchback, big deal. It wasn't like I was by Shmuel. You're by Shmuel. How do you talk about it? No, it's a hunchback. No big deal. So obviously there is an inyan of a hados ponim. That's the thing there. But the hados ponim alone is no yichus. That's the point is. So they had to put down that point. They don't put that Eitzal Shem and Masbach Hashem Otecha, that the one for dinim, I don't put up a guy just because he looks the part. Now, okay. And then he says, L'Soktim L'Chomat Tzeva, which is the other one, which is again the same thing, which Rashi, the Rashi explains it really, that a matzeva is a thing which has an end. It's a single stone. It can't be made bigger, but can be made smaller. That's all. But bigger it can't be made. So it's a natural tendency. This is what I am. That's it. They're not going anywhere but that. This is what I am. You get what you get. You get what you see. Okay? It's not a milah. That because you want someone to want to grow. You want to be something bigger. Well, this is what you see now. But I intend to become who knows what. The Torah is, we don't see the future. That's the Torah. But l'maisa, when you get married, that's hopefully what you see. You see the future. How far the future, that I can't answer you. But I said this in the. It bothered me. I had it because I saw a maisa that happened. That's where that the guy turned down a woman, a girl, because she too full for him, whatever it is there. So it bothered me. So I was looking at the thing there. So we find that the Vera Levia was married to Namoritz, right? There's Ishes Lapidus, who's Lapidus and Namoritz. But she made him into Baruch ben Avinoyam. So she turned him into a Talmud Chacham. What was his real name? The Medrash says this Michoel was his real name. I think, but the Lapidus is teaching what she tried to get him to learn by sending him to Shiloi with the Lapidim, with the wicks, and ultimately she did a good job. Nashis Rabbi Akiva did a very good job as far as I know. Now that I don't want. So Mela, what's her name? Shregã was Hishefetis Israel. Okay, everybody's scared of her. I mean, I don't want to be married to my wife over Shabbos. There are people that have, one of the problems that you have is she makes more money than me. Right, that's a put down. Like, it's Meshuggah, that's the best thing in the world. My wife always makes more money than me. Why is it bother your wife makes more money? But there is it's a pride. My wife is taller than me, my wife is this than me. It's passionate, why not? What's the thing there? Okay, but I can understand it. So by Devira, we're all smaller than her, so who wants to marry her? I see Kolev married Miriam. No, Akasha. Well, first of all, I don't know how big Kolev was, but he was 8 years old, that's all I know. 8 years old, he got married to a 50-year-old lady. Now, that's a pretty crazy story, right? Okay, but Afal Pikein, he's one of the only 3 people in the Torah that's called Eved Hashem, and he's him. So the other 2 is Avram Moshe, huh?
The Gemara says he wanted to have children like Moshe and Aaron.
I said he's what he calls Avram. The only other Avdei Hashem is Avram and Moshe at Beijing, and him he says Kolev Avdi. So there's a Beijing calls it Kolev Avdi. So you have 3 people. So he's a pretty big guy, but at 8 years old, okay. I mean, I can't answer. I don't know the guy, but the kasha was about Bas Kalba Savua. I mean, he's a billionaire, not a millionaire. He's a billionaire. He's a guy, one of 3 people that can hold off all of Klal Yisrael for 21 or 22 years, depending on the Gilsa. So since 22, the Gemara is 21. But whatever it is, that means all of Klal Yisrael give us for 7 years himself, right? How many millions of people on Klal Yisrael? He can take care of them, and that's cash. That's cash. That's, what do you call it? When you ask the kasha by a rich guy, is it what's the lotion? Is it movable?
Liquid.
Liquid. Is it liquid? This is liquidity. They have liquid. It's all in storage. It's all there. So there must have been a lineup to take her out. In front of the thing, there must have been 20 guys, at least. Well, Rosh Hashiva's asking for the Talmidim. So she has to pick an old guy. That's what she picked, an old guy who has a kid. That means that he had a wife already before. He has a kid at 6 years old. So he had a wife. He's poor. He's a shepherd. He's an amoret. Why? Take a young guy. Whoever they brought you some good guys. So you say, obviously, they didn't. So why not? Because they were scared. She must have been one of these ladies that you were scared of. She's too from for me. So you have to, the only these two from me has got to make their own husbands. They have to take an amoret and turn them into Talmud Chacham. They have no other rates because no one else wants to marry them. So they have to pick them on the kasha. How they know who's going to be? That's a big kasha. I mean, what did she see? That see everybody missed. What did you see that everybody missed? That's the question. About Peter's, at least, it says she was actively working with him, like he lived with her. Here she's sending him off to yeshiva. So she has no shaykhis to him for 24 years. All she gave him was the inspiration that you should go. But for 24 years she has no active shaykhis with him. Right? And so she's hoping that somehow the Rebbeim are going to turn him into a good guy. Crazy. But I mean, it's a good question. I have no idea. I don't know them. But obviously they give her a good yashikeh and her daughter for Banasai. So it's not whatever it is, they had a good eye, whatever that eye meant, I have no idea. Okay, anyway, Matzeva this is me, okay. And then there's Mizbeach that you always can add on. So there's the point, the person, you should always want to add. He wants to grow. You bring the korban to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you should want to grow. So Rashi says here a very strange thing. He says, "B'mei Ovis, a matzeva was nice. He was all over B'mei Ovis." I don't know where he gets it from. The Parshas, I would assume it's from the Maaseh of Yaakov Avinu, that Yikach matzeva, put oil on it and stuff like that. And I learned over there that it's not a Damien. I don't know if there's another type of raya. If there is another raya, then I have to learn a different shot. But if that's the raya, that's not. That's over there used the matzeva, he was talking about Gashmis. That's what he learned over there. The Benishim told Ya'akov, the pshat is that you're supposed to sleep. You're supposed to sleep, and even in the Beis Hamikdash, you sleep. Because you need sleep to serve me. But the Shem Shemayim, not more. So the same thing, so therefore Gashmias has an end. More than that I don't need. What is the most important Gashmias? So what represents Gashmias is what they saw. Where's the fat? I think that's an expression that's used. Like, where's the fat? Where's the mamish of the stuff? The other stuff are needed things. There's no yichus in them. But where's the fat, the extra, and the stuff like that? So you used oil, which is the fat, which it shows you, and it's also, you can use it for fire, you can use it to cook, you can use it to rub on your skin. So it has many uses in Gashmias. So it represents Kashmir. So that is, you put on a matzeva, a korban, a behemoth, that you put on a mizbeach. You don't put on, and in both places where it says it, when he was mekayim the neder, when he made the neder, both of them were with the matzeva, and both of them was oil. Because that was, so it has nothing to do with ohev me'avis. Even me'avis, a korban can't be on a matzeva. It will only be on mizbeach. Also, you see, you see that it was only representation, because Rashi in Balak says that when he says he should make me 7 mizbeachs over here, and then I made 7 mizbeachs, and the thing that when he's talking to the Rabbeinu Shalom, so he says all the others only made 7 mizbeachs, they only made 1 korban, and that was the idol of Avram Avinu. So why'd you make out the mizbeachs for? Right? So mashman the mizbeach was not made just for a korbanos. Mizbeach was a way of uptaking who I am. And in front of my house, I made a mizbeach. Some things I'm a growing person, a person that keeps growing. Guy puts a matzeva in front of his house. That means I come to an end. In other words, this is who I am, no more. Anything like that. So there's a big difference in Taish, but it's not to bring over korbanos. That's the thing. Yeah. And I don't remember what I said there, but by Avodah Zarah it says there's 3 times ras. But I'm skipping it because I don't remember what I said there. Yeah. Then you have the Nesokim Mamre. Now, Nesokim Mamre means Taki Azoki. It doesn't mean an Amoritz that does what he wants to do. And whether he listens to Bezin, doesn't listen to Bezin, not Chayim Misa. He'll get banged up for whatever it is, whatever the dinim are, but he's not going to get Misa for it. But a Talmud Chacham would get Misa. And it's interesting that when there's a Gemara that the Talmud Chacham is chayiv nidui, we give him malchus instead. And the amoritz we give nidui. So like why? So I saw in Pirish that the nidu affects the neshama. So somehow the neshama gets belittled, even if you take him out of the nidui. Somehow there's something happened to the neshama. Don't ask me what it is. So to a Talmud Chacham with the neshama is the ikar. So we don't chap it, we'll beat up the goof. But in Moritz, that the Ikir is the goof by him, so we do the neshama, we give him neshama. Even though Rabbi Eliezer, they put in Chayrim in the end. Why did they put Rabbi Eliezer in Chayrim? I don't know. I assume it would have helped if they gave him Malchus. That I don't know. No. The only one we find who's a Zokim member is Rabbi Eliezer. And whatever that means, but he didn't listen, right? And obviously, the really you put in, Beishamai didn't put Beisillah in Chayrim, Beisillah didn't put Beishamai into Chayrim. So what difference it made? You don't listen to me, big deal. But obviously, he was the only guy that didn't listen. Wasn't he? You have a lot of rabbis. Okay, so you have 50 rabbis that don't want to listen. Well, that thing, we're not making 50 Sokim Mambans in one shot. Like that there. About one guy, and he's big, and therefore we'll never be able to do our psak, because they'll always say, but Rabbi Eliezer doesn't hold like you. or something like that. So especially the Frumis are going to say that, right? Because he's mitame, so they're going to hold like him, and that's not the halacha. Now, what's pshat in that? Obviously, there's an inyan that in halacha that the Rebbeinu Shalom, I really don't know. That's the first thing. I really don't know. Okay, but there is an inyan of what's considered halacha in its emes that the Rebbeinu Shalom would paskin like. But there's also when he gave us reshus to be mishaneh from it. So the halacha goes to feed away the bnei Odom paskin. That was not. He gave us the Torah. That's the Torah of Hashemayim. So Yeshua was answering that whole machlekes, and he would each one he brought a raya with a nes, right? So you see the Beis through Nisan form. He's proving it was right. So what Yeshua didn't really do in this, he just made everything go back to normal. You know what I mean? Even with the walls falling down. Like, stop falling down, like that, you're supposed to say it. So it's just like this the whole time. It's always a less, And it wasn't, and he say if it was the base metal still, so it should be what do you call it, where the building falling down, what's it called? Huh? Kirinatoi? No. It's an issa for you to go. You're not allowed to go into a place where it's falling down. Welcome, Sakon. A chorva. You can't go into a chorva. A wall that's laying like this is a pretty dangerous chorva as far as I'm concerned. That's in the base measures. So they empty out the base measures for life because it was like that, or they knew that this wall ain't going to fall. I mean, I don't know what's shot there. No, but whatever it is, they're definitely a strange story, whatever it is. But the end is that they kept showing, and the answer of Rabbi Yeshua was Torah by Shemayim. You guys have no opinion here. So the Torah gave us the ability to figure out according to us. Chayim. Both of us, Svaras or emes Svaras, they could be right. And the thing there. And you'll say, is that every there's no Narish Svara? I'm sure there's Narish Svaras. But the shaila is, you have to prove it from the Torah. If you prove it from the Torah, then it's valid. And each guy wrote tshuvas. He wrote a tshuva like this. He wrote a tshuva like this. And you come along, and I like this tshuva better than that one. So you're passing like what you want to passing like, and you have that right to do that as long as it wasn't passing to Klal Yisrael. But once Klal Yisrael, whatever it is, for whatever reason, they want to have unity on something, and the Bezdin Gadol votes on it, then that's the halacha. And anyone that deviates is Zokim Amalek. In other words, there's no two Torahs. We tolerate two Torahs, that we tolerate it. But not, and I once saw, again, why or not at the time that they had the Moshe Mendelssohn, that's the guy who started Reform, right? But he was a former Yid. He wore tefillin. He was a mamish Hashem Shabbos. The Tafas, former Yid. But he was Reform. Reform meant he believed in, as far as I know, in a salon. Now it's artists, what do you call it, musicians, things of that. There was Chochmah. He was into Chochmah. But Torah was also by him. It was Chochmah. Nothing to do with, it's not like a Bisvat Chachomim. But that's what it means by when it says you should be Bisvat Chachomim. That means be a salon for Chachomim. That means Chachomim are always welcome in my house. You walk in, I don't stop you from walking in. You can go to my library, you can go to my list, you anything you want by me, and there's stuff like that. And how do I do it? That's a good question, you know, with the thing, but it can be done. Okay. So at the same time that machlekes existed was the machlekes of Rabbi Yankov Emden and Yonatan Eibschitz. And somebody said, I don't know who they claim it from, that he said that the machlekes of Yonatan Eibschitz and Rabbi Yankov Emden, even though he was puzzled them or whatever listening there, will not split Klal Yisrael. But the machlekes of Moshe Mendelssohn, that will split Klal Yisrael. You know, what would they nicker in this? I can't answer you like what. But obviously, the fact that you know, Hasidim have different minhagim than us, Svardim have different minhagim than us, and no one calls them shkotzim. You know what I mean? In the halachas that they agree with us, and they do, and they still machal Shabbos like in Brooklyn, so we call them shkotzim. But normally eating gebrochs and not eating gebrochs is not going to call a guy a shegitz for eating gebrochs. You're not going for not eating gebrochs. You don't want to eat it, don't eat it. Who cares? You want to eat rice, eat rice. There's a takana, we don't, and you do. So you do, no, I don't. It's a big deal, you know. All these things, that doesn't seem, why not? Why doesn't it bother us? How can you marry a Sephardi? You know, I'm not talking about, you know, there is the kasha. I've seen this. I don't know if I can eat rice on Pesach. You know, by them, it's a mitzvah to eat rice on Pesach. Don't even ask me why. They don't eat rice the rest of the year, but on Pesach they all eat rice. They take the sack of rice on the paper, the whole family gets around the table, they throw the sack of rice on the table, 50 pounds, and they go pick out all these things to make sure there's no worms in there, and the thing over there, and then they eat it on Pesach. I don't even like rice, and they're going to put it on rice. You know, it's an Indian of rice. Don't ask me why. And something could have happened that made them do that. I'm saying that. No, I don't know. I mean, by us, the reason is because we had a problem with it. That's not like this. There was no such a problem. It was a problem. They didn't have a problem. But I've heard that from people. You know, you want to go swallowing. I don't know if I can eat rice on Pesach. I know I'm going to go to his minhagim, and I just can't do it. Can't do it. Anyway, the lotion over there is in the end. Ubiat Orom Yisrael v'chol Orom Yishmu v'yirohu v'lo Yezid Noid. So there's an Indian that you should know, but lo Yezid Noid because it's amazing. It has to fight with the Sanhedrin has to be done only by Mezid. You know, we got to I'll do it. Anything that it's not something that, you know, he didn't thought that was a pshat like that. After the psak, I didn't. Till the psak takes place, you go up first to one town, you go up to the bezdin of your town. The town goes to the Weiter till you come to Yerushalayim. Then Yerushalayim, you still don't know, you go to the Zohar, to the Hamar Bayis, then you go to Lishis Agozis, and you get there and then they pass this thing, and you go back, a Shir against the Sogim with your psak. You know, you'd have to say it in a way like this, even though the thing about I have kashis from the Gemara, this, that, okay, good, those the kashis, big deal. You know, Leicha say, that you're not allowed to do. You can't pass like it. Okay. Then you had a kasha, or an Indian, the taina of melech. Like you see, when you want to make a sober oretz, and you decide you want to make a sima lai melech. Why? Why would you want to put a melech on you? So the truth is, we always had melechim. The Shoftim were melechim. They had the din of Yamlis Picha, Meir B'Malchus, they had. By Yeshua, because Yamlis, there's no question. That was passed on to every Shofet that existed. That there has to be a leader has to have full authority. Now, full authority means to the point of where it's there. That doesn't... I saw once, I don't know if it's Rabbeinu Yener that says it, that's I don't remember, that how do you have fear for your parents? I mean, if you really felt fear for your parents like a melech or something like that, you wouldn't be home. I'd leave home. I mean, sure, you're going to shiver all day long. You're going to be scared to walk into the room, my parents are in there. I mean, sure, that's not what it means. It means you got to give them respect. That's the thing, though. But you also have the problem, the parents themselves, they can't take it. In other words, every time they walk into them, the kids jump up for them, right? They're not walking into the living room because the kids are playing in the living room and they're not going to walk in there because they don't want to disturb the kids from jumping up every time, right? So it's a very unpleasant house to live in, right? We go over there. So how do you get yira? So they described it this way, that you work for your friend, but he can fire you. So even though we're buddies, the president of the company and the secretary are friends, and they talk and they call each other by the first name, and they do this, about the secretary still has a certain aimer. They can say he was shiver, he doesn't shiver, but he knows he doesn't cross the line on certain things because he can fire me. That's you know that fear. So that's the fear that a person has to have. The parents for this and this. For melech mashmi, he's supposed to shiver. He's also supposed to speak to you always with harshly. You know, you're not allowed to speak to you private. In private he can, but not in public. So so your shofat, they bring you right. Your shofat, they use the kiss the dam of whatever. They love for it, but that's only in private. So the question is, why do you really want a king for? I mean, why do anybody really want a king? So I think that you see in the Haftarah of who is it? I can't even remember his name. The guy who wanted the Kohen. Korach. Parshas Korach. The Haftarah of Korach. So that brings in the Shmuel. The Navi, it's Haftarah of Shmuel when he marks the Melucha to show after he defeated Nochash Melech Ammon. So the idea is, he said, Hashem Elokeichem Malkuchem. In other words, you can think he's the king. Remember, Hashem Elokeichem Malkuchem. What does that mean? Okay. So let's say United States, right? I had business, and I'm not doing so well. It's not my fault. It was Biden's fault, right? He made certain crazy laws. What's his name? If I'm losing money now, it's Trump's fault. It's what he does with the with whatever they call tariffs and stuff like that. That's his fault. Whatever there is that's going wrong in the world, it's not me. Right? Why? Because it's his. He's responsible for it. So you really want to take off the responsibility from yourself. That's the whole reason you want a melech. Okay. So remember, he told you, Hashem Lekechem Halkecha. He's the one that gives parnosa. He's the one that makes peace. He's the one that gives shalom. He's the one that gives milk. Not the melech. That's the thing there. Okay, so what do I want a melech for? I guess nobility. Now, why would I want nobility? That I can't answer. I don't know. But the English, Ad Hayayim, their malchus is worthless. I mean, the king has no power. Right? They still give him a lot of money and stuff like that. They're rich people. And there's a lot of pomp and, what is something, there's two words in so pomp.
Circumstance.
Huh?
Pomp and ceremony.
Ceremony.
Ceremony, pomp and ceremony, okay. When I remember when his mother died, Elizabeth died, so they made right away. They call out the king is him, but he's a novel. It's not. He didn't come there, but that's proclaimed right away. It's a big thing, and to marching and armies, they're walking back and forth, and the whole thing there, the whole ceremony. Then they had the coronation, which comes lots later. They had the coronation also. But Lamaisa, it's a big deal. And everybody's cheering and everybody's singing and why? Why are you doing this? You hold he's a bigger person than you? I don't think so. I don't think anybody really feels that way. Right? But you still use the word my betters. But only in England, so they use it. The other countries have that. I saw getting it. In the Arab countries or something, we have a sheikh which maybe has a power killing you. I don't know. Those places we have, what the guy's not a king, a dictator. So dictator kills. You don't play games. Melech has no power. Dictator has much power. And the thing over there, but they only have it to him. That's the thing. It's no guarantee it's going to go to his kids. That's why it's a grace kasha what we're going to have here. And you see though that in the Philippines, I forgot who the president was, that he stole a lot of money, he put away billions of dollars outside the country. Why do you do that? Because he knows when he's dying, and he thinks kids are not taking over. I got to leave him something, right? So I have money out of the country. So you have a reason to rob the country. You're a dictator because I need to hear for myself. A melech who has him and his kids, he don't have any reason to steal because his kids will have the malchus. So what do I have to steal for? Now, I'm not allowed to have money, personal money, but the government money, living in the White House, which belongs to the government, that's not a problem. So they made me a fancy house. It's not a kasha. Things that they need for the dignity of the country. They give me a fancy wagon, a fancy car, whatever it is there. That's for the country. It's not for me. The thing there about things that are for me, they don't give me. That I don't have to have money. That's the thing there. So therefore, the kid will live with ashiras and stuff. So I don't have to do anything for them. That's the point. I don't have to rob. But again, they want that thing. There's some kind of bragging. I would call it bigotry. But not a bigotry of a schwarzer weiße. But you're a lowlife. You're a street kid. You have no chivas. You're nobody, right? You have to be wealthy families, this and that. Now you're a gavra, right? Something like that. Yes, that's even in the United States you have like that, in certain areas. There's certain families, first families. You have even among the, if you come from the Puritans, or from those families originally, so they have meetings, or they used to have meetings, that they think that we are the original Americans, okay, something like that. Everybody needs some bragging rights. So even by avodim, this big Eved Melech Melech, that means even for the regular people. But the avodim mamish, the Eved of a Melech is better than the Eved of a duke. The Eved of a duke is better than a arrow. And the thing of that, why? Because my boss is higher than you. So this bragging like that, and that kind of bragging, I guess, is the Yankees and the Dodgers. And the matter thing, what have you got to do with the Yankees and the Dodgers? Right? What you play baseball? You're on the team? You own anything there? Nothing. So why you a fan? Because it gives me, by them winning, I feel better. I'm better than you because I'm a fan of the Yankees and you're a fan of the Dodgers. And a thing like that. Makes sense to you? Not at all. Right? But that's the Metzias, that's the will. So there is such a desire, and that desire for Shteitzach is baloney. And for that, but the world wants such a thing. We want such a thing. So the world is so crazy. By us, the Melech must come from the Yidden. So he can be a nobody, and the Ben Shabbat up to Malchus. David HaMelech. David HaMelech was what? The youngest kid, right? Who they didn't even bring Choshev enough to come for the first time. Right? The family closed them off. So obviously he wasn't like, I understand making him the Melech. You know what I'm saying? Now, a Melech has to have certain keches. Now, to be a Kohen Gadol, you have to be 5 things higher, or better than all the Kohanim in the world. And only one is something that is not physical or mental, and that is money. And that, if he's not the richest Kohen, the Kohanim have to chip in and make him the richest Kohen. Okay, but to be the smartest Kohen, that he has to be. Now, the smartest Kohen doesn't have to be, but he also has to be the strongest Kohen. He also has to be the tallest Kohen. And he also has to be the smartest, the handsomest Kohen. Right? So he's 5 things he has to have. And a Melech has to be more than ganz Klal Yisrael. So Shaul Melech was in the Keif of Lamaila, bigger than anybody else in Klal Yisrael. And you see that sometimes. You see a guy 6'5". There's quite a few of them around. So you see a regular guy 5'6" next to him. The head is right by the shoulder. There's a thing over there. There's a thing over there. You can see close what we're talking about. Like you say, how did the 2 of them friends? How the 2 of them one got a wife and what's that? That's their problem. That's not my problem. Okay, but you have friends. Either they both sit down, or they get used to talking like this. What am I going to tell you? And they're looking like that. That's all. What am I going to tell you? About their friends. It has nothing to do with friends. I guess it's because you have to respect them from all angles, physically and mentally. And I kind of. Now, Kohen Gadol, how old is he? I assume 100 years old when they make him a Kohen Gadol. Kohen Gadol died. We're going to vote on the Kohen Gadol. Whoever elects him, right? How are we going to vote? Right? On size? No. So we're going to elect the biggest Talmid Chacham. I would assume that's the easiest one that you're going to do. Now, how do we know who's the biggest Talmid Chacham? That's a good question. but they used to know. They used to know when they had a Bezdin, they had the Rabban, the Bezdin was that, in front of the Bezdin you had the Talmidim, and they all went according to numbers. The biggest Talmud was number, how do you know he's the biggest Talmud? Right? Whatever, they state, okay? Whatever it means. So I hold that what happens is, and that's why there's a special issa by Kohen, that the Kohen Gadol has to marry a Naira. Especially if he can marry Katana too, but with Naira. He's 100 years old, he's got to marry a girl 12 years old. What are you, nuts? Right? It's an issa gomer. Mansvei Sorovas Hatzmeya, that we learn that you're not allowed to marry a kid to a yalda to a zokin, and not a boy to an old lady, because it causes nus in Klal Yisrael. And yet here's Meferish the mitzvah, so I say from here you see that he becomes a young man. That the Kohen Gadol gets his strength back, he becomes the strongest in Klal Yisrael, so he becomes a young man. He's like, he can take a 12-year-old and the stuff like that. So that's a point that he does. Okay, that's that. And anyways, now you have, it's interesting, a Rashi, but someone found it like me from the Rishonim, so it's okay. It comes over there by David HaMelech when he came to fight Goliath. So Shaul offered him his armor. And when he saw that Shaul was upset about it, so he didn't take it. Okay? So the Shiloh, what made him upset? So Rashi learns that the armor shrunk and fit him. Right? I said, that's no yichus. Why would he feel that David HaMelech a competitor to him? No, he has no competitor. He's still a shrimp. I'm the big guy. He's a little shrimp. And my armor happened, he's a tzaddik, so it'll be protected. So he said, shrunk the armor, right? What I learned, Pshat, is he grew into the armor. So now he's as tall as Shaul HaMelech is. Now he can be a melech. Now the thing over there, now I'm scared. That was the point of it. He came to me. So that's the lame shot later. And something like that. Shot. And I've seen it with Maisa. It's not a big kasha, how it can happen. Because you're talking about height, you're talking about strength, I don't know exactly how he became strong, I guess. Okay. But handsomeness and height is that the pituitary gland starts to work again. And it does, there's such a disease that actually makes the pituitary gland actually can start. It's obviously not normal, so it's called a disease. But the Maisa, you can go up to be who knows what. So that's how that would happen. I said, well, the strength I don't know, except natural strength. So the man can make muscles there too. So who knows what the thing over there. Okay. So that's the chiyuv, and the chiyuv goes to his children too. And that's a din we learn from here, and from my Kohen Gadol also says this thing, is that if the son is royu, the son yarshins. It goes for rabbonos, this and that. Now, I don't know if it exists the same thing now. Should actually bring it in Teire. Could be, I don't know. They write contracts to rabbis, right? And then somewhere along the line they decide to write them a contract for life, right? Something like that. But can you ever fire a rabbi? It's not so push-it that you can. And the same thing, the rabbi, when he dies, he goes to his son. And you find Rabbonoson, they didn't go maybe to the son, they went to the son-in-law, that they kept in the family. I know my uncle became a Reuven Feinstein from a shver, and Rabbi Teitz became the Reuven's Elizabeth, because of Ishmael, and the thing like that. They already, and my Bubby's family, so I guess it'll be his Elder. So it's my Elder Zayda was from the family that had 7 daughters, one after the other, Rabbanim and Karelitz, the thing over there. So that's something supposed to be a big deal. That in other words, but meaning that he had 7 daughters that they felt was royal, that the son should become a rabbi. They didn't. In Elizabeth, they did it. When the old Tites died, they took a Lozameya. When Lozameya died, they're looking among their kids what to do with it. But there was something, but it probably is going to remain in the family and the stuff like that. So there is such a thing that existed, and sometimes they have to tell us about it. So I don't know about it. This is talking about not your private shtibel. It's talking about a shul.
So what happened to Moshe Rabbeinu?
I'm sorry?
Why didn't Moshe Rabbeinu's kids yashin?
The Reuven said he asked for it, and the Reuven said, but that's not what I want. I got to get it. It's Akasha. I guess the God can do whatever you want. That's what he says. That was not my das. I intended to give it to Yeshua. But did they have a position of authority at all? They didn't become the rabbi, but they become like, I don't know, the gabbai or something like that. I don't know. You don't really talk about these things. I don't know. Okay. Now, I think that's a way of guaranteeing that you talk the emes. You know, you say this guy is chayiv misa, do it. You know, I don't know, even by the goyim, if they would, let's say the law would be, you want to say witness, the guy is chayiv misa. Well, guys like that, I mean, when they had the electric chair and stuff like that, you're going to say, hey, he killed someone. You're going to press the button? Or no, the executioner press the button. I don't have to do nothing. I don't even have to show up. Maybe even if I make you sit there and watch as he thinks, then maybe you wouldn't do it. I don't know. So I'm saying, so there's a big inyan in that, just simply to make sure you're telling the truth. And I think that.
By mesis, we find that the nisus is.
I'm sorry?
By mesis, find
a mace?
But the nisus is Berishayna. By a mesis, the nisus is Berishayna, not the Eitel.
That we don't do, we're not done number kapschus.
But the nisus is the one who throws him down.
Yeah.
Not the Eitel.
Okay. That's because, again, you did it to me. So again, the thing that, because he does a lot. He sets up the Eidim, he sets up the thing. So there is, like this, you have to show that God comes first, whatever it is. But the, okay, so, and the Melech has nothing. The 36 wives he can have. Kohena v'Kohena, they learn out from the Melech. He had, what do you call it, that time. So he says he's allowed to have 36 wives. That's enough. I don't know why the majority would be Yosef B'Vavai, unless the women get together and they will give him a headache. That could be, you know. If everybody made a revolution, we all want to make getchus and stuff like that. So then Yosef B'Vavai. Like this, I don't even know my wives. The guy's got 1,000 wives. What does he know about those wives? What, do you sit down by the table? He has 36 wives by his table? I don't think so. I don't think that's the way they used to eat. I don't know. I have no idea. But I can't see it. Shleima Melech can talk about beauty all he wants. He had 1,000 wives. He knows beauty better than me. But he didn't know a woman better than me. I mean, unless he's such a chacham that he can offer 1 million, you understand the woman. I know a woman. I had a wife for many years, so I know what a woman is, and he doesn't know what a woman is. He never spoke to a woman, doesn't know what an eighth of a woman is. He doesn't know what a thing is. Not talking. You're a lady. Who cares? I have no purpose. You have no purpose in my life. So I don't understand it. So I can't tell you. Because even by David HaMelech, it's interesting. In the end of Shmuel, he mentions 6 wives, and it says Eglah Ishtay. So Rashi writes Eglah is Michal. The only one that's called Ishtay is Michal. But that relationship, she loved him, whatever that means, that it says that when he married her, that she loved him to such a degree. That was, and who's the conversation she has, about the Malchus, she made fun of him, because there's that thing there, he told him my part. So obviously there was a special relationship he had with Michal, even though he's married to 35 other ladies. But Lamaisa, his relationship as a wife was with Michal. So he had one wife, Michal. Okay, that's only one that's gives it to Ishtay. And he also has a melech, has to have some chesron to him. That's why one of the Shoftim is why it says that if you were Shaul and Shaul was David, I would be Mavim Kama Davids for one Shaul. So Ashma the chet that he did, meaning B'shat, whatever it is, that Shaul, that David Tzatchotosi, immediately, and Shaul was looking always for an excuse. It wasn't my fault, I didn't do it, or whatever it is there. So that's why he lost the Malchus. But as far as the Yichus, I would have been Mavim Kama Davids for one Shaul, because the Shaul had no chesroinus. David had chesroinus. But in reality, a melech should have chesroinus. And that was one of the reasons that maybe he was too perfect. You don't want a melech to not have any perfect. He has to have the whole basket of shchotzim behind him. Meaning he has to have something wrong with him, so therefore he can't brag too much like, I'm better than all of you guys. I don't need this headache of being a melech, I can go in there and God will give me like a mabba and you guys go fly a kite. I can't do you guys go to shchotzim. Because I'm not better than you. I think that's so it's an Indian that they has that thing. Okay. That's fine. Okay. The only other thing I just say that there's the Ravim. You got to read in the first divrei. They have about the MRI, panic, whatever it is, that there's 4 lavin to be afraid. How are you afraid? How do you make legislation against an emotion? That's the point that the chiddush is, that you have to. How do you legislate emotion? And you're legislating your emotion, that you can't be afraid. You're not allowed to be afraid. What do you mean? I suffer from anxiety. You shake it. You're not sick. I mean, that's a point that you got to realize. It's a point of this felt betochen, this felt emunah. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it will actually solve the problem. I believe it will solve the problem. Okay, you're not a psychiatrist, so how do you know what it will be? I kind of am telling you it works, okay? But the thing goes. So the idea is panic that we're talking about. Fear is always there. Fear you're entitled to have. I'm afraid going to the dentist, I still go. What's one thing got to do with the other, I'm afraid I'm going to get a needle, I can still go. But what's the difference, You have guys who are afraid of going to the doctors because they're going to get a needle, so they don't go. But the mice, if they're really forced to go, they're going to go. I mean, there's nothing they can do about it. I think that so That we're not talking about. The thing, that's fear. Fear a person can have. Of a panic you have no right to have. So I once in the early years, so I told the guys, if a dog jumps at you, so usually you panic. There's a big dog over there and he jumps, what are you going to do, right? Give him, when he's jumping, he uncovers his neck. So give him a good shot in the neck, right? So he's doing there. So his father he was on a bike once, and the dog jumped him, and he did it, and he was able to, and the dog ran away. Right? You think, why'd you panic? Because I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. So I told you what to do. So if you know what to do, you have no problem. So the thing is, panic has to go away. What are you panicking about? Afraid? You're afraid. Maybe she doesn't want to save me. I may die. That's true. That's emes. About Lamaisa, the panic, what are you panicking about? That's the shayla. That's the Yisra. I've written Shabbos, everybody. Lots of time.